Fuente Don Carlos. These are so good. They're always smooth. There's not really any earthy notes. I'm not a fan of the earthy notes. Tastes a little bit like hay, that type of vibe. Feels like wet dog to me. It's got none of that. This is just cocoa and cream, a lot of cocoa. Very sweet. Highly recommend. Highly recommend to try this one. Smoked about half of it a little earlier. Smoked a little after dinner. I was talking to a trader today, and he said something. He said, "Oh, my goal is to be able to get in 1 hour on the charts, get out." I've seen a bit of this type of messaging from a lot of the social media Lambo bros. And they're like, it's 9:35 New York. I've already hit my bangers and I'm out. 5 minutes on the charts, I can go enjoy my day. I'm a multi-millionaire. All my trades are successful. I want you guys to think about this for a minute. We all know the old wise tale. It takes 10,000 hours to achieve mastery. And as I'm talking, and as you're thinking about this idea, some of you at some point might come to the realization that trading's not for you, and I think that's awesome. I want you all to really contemplate here that you are trading against the most sophisticated pieces of software, billion-dollar pieces of software written by the best software engineers in the world, designed by the smartest mathematicians in the world, spearheaded by the banks. And you're also competing against manual traders that are veterans. And smoke in the eye there. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, I don't have a passion for the markets, and I don't really want to invest that much time in them, and maybe you have this idea of an hour a day. I think that's fine. My recommendation is, if that's where you're at, and you have other interests in life, you should pursue those other interests. And maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe you're gonna buy that $5,000 mentorship from the Lambo bro. You're gonna achieve all your wildest dreams in 30 minutes on the charts and be enjoying your day by 10 a.m. I hope that's you. If that's what you want, I hope you find it. That is not my approach. Anybody that wants to embody my philosophies, that can't be our approach. You have to understand, I'm in my 3rd year of trading, and there are many, many days I'll put 10 hours on the charts. And here's the thing, I love it. I'm obsessed. I trade New York. Actually, I'll tell you my first year, because I was working remotely for corporate. I would trade New York pretty much all day because I was just at my house remote. And then I would trade Asia. And then maybe a little bit of London. That's usually when I go to bed. Kind of the time that London kicks off. I still sort of do that, except for I'm going to run my business for a huge chunk in the middle of the day. I'll still get a little bit of Asia in the morning, or New York rather, in the morning. And then I come home, try to spend some time with the kids, dinner, that type of thing. And I'm generally trying to trade 9 to midnight. Usually I trade more than that. Usually I'm on, I open the charts right when I get home, 5, 6, 7. The time always varies. But I'm more or less trading 7 to midnight. I'm really locked in by 9 to midnight, and maybe 1 to 2 hours in the morning. So even at this point in my life, where things are different than when I first started. When I first started, I was remote. I wasn't a dad. Actually, I guess I was a dad, but we had one kid and it was a baby. So things are just different now. My kids are older, they want to play with me. And I'm also running a very involved business. And I still probably putting up 5 hours or more every single day on the charts. And I was easily, in the beginning, putting up 10 per day. My first year, I probably clocked 4,000 hours. Well, that's not true because it's plus or minus true. Here's the thing, is the markets are closed on the weekends. I was backtesting, writing software, things like that. So I'm maybe not putting in a full 10 hours. Saturday, Sunday, that type of vibe. Well, Friday night, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. Sunday night, I'm always trading Asia. So I'm probably clocking 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And the other 2 days, I'm definitely on the charts. I'm backtesting, I'm studying. Back then, I was trying to do different videos and learn that type of stuff. I don't watch anything anymore. I watch 0 streams. I watch 0 how-to videos on YouTube. I watch 0, the only strategy you need videos on YouTube. I watch 0 of it. I still love my econ podcasts. I watch a lot of that still. But it's really got nothing to do with trading. They're just talking about the war, and they talk about just kind of more broad, you know how those channels go. They talk about gold and the war, oil, that type of stuff. They're not day traders. So here's kind of my point I want you to think about. If you feel like you want to put in an hour into the markets a day, 5 days a week, you can do that. And if the idea is, well, I hate the markets and so I only want to do an hour and I want to make all this money, Again, I hope you find success in that, but I'm doing this for the love of it, the absolute obsession of it. And just know that if you're going to put 5 hours a week into this, you are up against people who are relentlessly engaging with the markets. Let's say the first year I put up 3,000 to 4,000 hours, year two a bit less. Now I'm probably putting up maybe 2,000 a year. I'm in my third year. I've probably put in somewhere around 7,000 hours on the charts. If somebody's been trading for X amount of years, they're putting in an hour a day, let's say 7 days a week. That's 365 hours a year. In 3 years, you're gonna hit your first 1,000 hours on the charts. I'm gonna be encroaching my 10,000 hours of mastery when I conclude my third year of trading. That'll be this year. And then, I'm still not going to stop. I might be putting in half that time now. That's not due to choice, that's due to life circumstance for me. With the business, with my kids. Listen, when my trading business hits a point where I can do this full time, I will do this 10 hours a day again. Just hands down. I will stream and trade probably all of New York session, and then Asia too, because again, I love it. There isn't really anything else I'd rather be doing. I'm a homebody. Like, what am I gonna do? I like to travel, see stuff a little bit here and there. I'm bored. So, you know, a little bit of that. Maybe I go to the gym, trail run. I dig on that type of stuff, but overall, I'm on the charts because that's what I want to be doing with my time. So, if you're X amount of years into this, maybe you're 6 months, maybe you're 5 years, doesn't matter. If you're not finding success, I think it's perfectly reasonable to take some self-inventory on your situation, your interest in this career, your passion for the markets, your passion for software. I want to touch on that again in a minute. Your passion for business. This is a business, and you need to treat this with extreme precision and discipline. And if that doesn't sound appealing to you, again, that's awesome. Something will. We all have our gifts. My gift is music. It always has been. And when I found trading, it's the only thing that I can do prolonged with more sustain than music. It's the only thing. Now, If you do that self-inventory, and then you move on, that's awesome. Go and create value. My local business here creates a lot of value. Specifically locally, it does. But I also am an engineer, and I design speakers, amplifiers. That is not a piece of the business that I'm really pursuing or pushing on anymore, but it definitely could have been. I'm pursuing trading instead, and if that had been, that would be something that I would be growing, and that would be adding value, doing more with less. I'm taking raw materials and I'm building some of the best speakers that exist, and it would be helping people create their art, perfect their art, mix and master their music. And so put that on yourself, right? If I decided trading's not for me, then that would be the secondary thing, my side hustle, if you will, that I'm going to go and pursue and add value with. I don't think nobody needs to trade. So if you're doing this because you have this idea you want to make money or independence or whatever, there's other ways to achieve that. And you can have a social media presence in any genre that you're interested in. Do that consistently for 5 years. You're gonna have an audience. You can figure out how to monetize it. There are channels making money, racing RC cars around, surfing, poker, writing, art, doesn't matter, music. It's kind of two things for me. One, I never even considered me not being successful as a trader. From the first couple of times I started putting money into brokerage and actually placing trades and started kind of figuring it out, I instantly knew this is what I will do. And it still is. So let's flip this. Let's look at some signs that you should keep going. You're relentlessly obsessed with this. Great, keep going. Is that 6 months, 1 year, 18 months, maybe it's 3, 5 years, doesn't matter. If you're obsessive about the markets, you're interested, just keep going. Here's the other side to that as well. If you are going to keep going, if it's been 6 months, don't stress too much. Just keep doing stuff. If it's been, I want to say 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you are obsessed, but you're still not finding consistent success, you need to try some other stuff. Now, this doesn't mean go and watch the next YouTube video that's, the only strategy you need or whatever. That doesn't mean go try more strategies. What it means is, are you, I kind of hate to say this, journaling? I sort of journal. I have my own flavor of it. And I don't know what journaling means to everybody. If it means like, writing down my trades or how I felt, whatever. I don't know. I don't do that. I don't find that helpful. I don't think that's what that means. Where I am going to push this idea is, are you developing your own systems, backtesting, writing software? Let's circle back on that. But you could call that journaling, I do a ton of that consistently. And when I got really, really serious about that side of things, that's when I really started finding some aggressive consistency. So I think of journaling as like, hey, I'm not going to keep a track of these trades and how I felt during these trades and whatever. Again, it doesn't feel super productive to me, but I am going to track data sets of these events, these environments, these are the movements, these are the assets. This is the types of environments where things tend to happen. These are the distributed efficiencies of the market in certain environments. And if we broaden the lens of journaling, if we want to call it that, that's my version of it. And again, I'm an engineer, more scientist approach to this. I love the markets. It is an unsolvable equation that's on the move. There's nothing more exciting than trying to solve that, and then you got to solve it again tomorrow. Now, I will say, how I feel is important. And that's maybe something I could get a little bit better at. Taking inventory before I trade and maybe coming up with structures and systems of how I want to size my evening during Asia's session based on maybe how I feel or how focused I am, how my mitochondria feels. That does feel very correlated to me. But that's more of taking self-inventory than journaling. And those are little things I'm still working on. Again, relentless pursuit. And those are all my to-do list, right? Of figuring out, really, really identifying and defining, this is how I position myself, my size, my trade amount, those types of things based on market condition, market environment, and maybe how I'm feeling, how focused I am. Figuring out how to be honest with yourself. So, but that, again, that's a little bit more of self-inventory and market inventory of what are the conditions for the evening. And that condition is the market and yourself. So I'm still pushing into this, and I've got a lot to figure out still, and that's cool. But again, coming back to your journey, if you're 1 year, 3 year, 5 years into this, not finding success, but you love the charts, you don't mind being on the charts, you need to try some new things. You need to work on identifying the environment, understanding where the inefficiencies in the markets are. Don't switch to a new strategy. I don't know. I don't believe in strategies. That's just me. I am a discretionary trader, but at discretion, it does have structure built around it, and it's basically all market condition, or I like to call it market environment. So, and there's probably some murky bleeding between those two ideas, and everybody might even have their own ideas of what that even means. Market condition, to me, that feels a little more data-driven, right? It's a little more data-driven. It's kind of like, what does the VIX look like? What does the bond market look like? The war, interest rates, that type of stuff. That's sort of market condition. Market environment is understanding the distributed efficiencies of in what environments do these inefficiencies present themselves. In these environments, this is what I will be forever searching for. But the big ones I found so far: momentum, and mixed with momentum is, let's call it momentum taper. So momentum taper, moving averages, and then all of that mixed in and aggregated to the relationship of different time frames within all of those environments, aggregated into one. And there are times when those line up and the inefficiencies are actually insane. I have a full, how do I describe it? It was a large piece of software that I built. I call them buckets. You could think of them as market conditions, market environments, but it's this distributed data plot of market efficiencies in these different environments. And it was insane to me how many of these are 50-50. And you would have 95% of these buckets where, when I'm inside of this environment, the probability of the next candle is 50-50 up or down. Or it was probably more like 80%, and then 15% where it was really, really close to 50-50, right? So 80% extreme efficiency. Maybe 15% where it's like 55-45. I still don't want to trade in those environments. And then there's these weird outliers. Maybe I shouldn't call them weird. There are these select few outliers on both ends of my data plots that I put together that the inefficiencies are absolutely insane. The probability on some of the stuff, 70-30, some of them are 90-10. And when you start to discover some stuff like that, and okay, when we get into these certain environments, we have a 90% probability that the next candle's going to be up or down, depending on what it looks like, depending on what end of the data plot it is, long or short. They both look pretty similar. Now here's the deal. If you have a 90% probability that the next candle's going to go long and it's on the 4 hour, you got to understand that, okay, for the next 4 hours, I'm looking for the same inefficiencies with a bias of long, and I can filter that down, trickle that down to 1 hour, 15 minute, 5 minute, 1 minute, whatever. I'm generally scalping on like the 15-second chart. But it's within the context of understanding that, like, hey, I've got this extreme probability on the 15-minute chart. For the next 15 minutes, I can take longs or I can take shorts. And sometimes that really scales out to being on the daily or the 4 hour. And that's awesome when that can happen. I don't really care when it happens, to be honest with you. It all feels the exact same to me. I actually prefer the faster movement. Some of my trades are 10 seconds. I prefer that. So I prefer to find one of these setups on the 15-minute, 5-minute, and I can say, okay, I'm gonna go look for entries on the 15-second. I might be in a trade for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and I size up pretty heavy. For me, if this happens on the 4 hour and then, I'm gonna take a 5-minute entry, it's kind of the same trade in my opinion, because I'm gonna size down pretty aggressively, and it's still gonna be proportionate to whatever my dollar value is of what I'm trying to hit for for wherever I'm at in the night. If it's starting out, I'm trying to take these $300-500 trades usually. Later in the evening, once I'm up and I have a little bit of that buffer to take bigger trades, I'm taking $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 trades. It's not uncommon for me to, once I'm really scaling up for a night and I'm up and I've got the drawdown there in the account, I don't mind doing a Hail Mary and saying, hey, I'm gonna take a $6,000 trade here. And if it loses, I'm probably gonna lose 3, 4, 5,000. When it hits, I'll be up 6,000. I was already up 5,000. Take a trade, 5, 6,000. Now I'm up 11,000. I don't mind doing that, so I scale up with it. There's also nights where that happens. I take that big trade and it loses. And then I end the night break even, or it just hits my daily loss limit of $1,000. It's all fine. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And that's going to result in, there's plenty of nights where I hit my daily drawdown, minus 1,000. There's other nights it just continues to scale, and I'm ending the night 5 figures. So I don't really care if I'm in 50 lots, which is basically full size, and I'm taking these quicker scalps, or it can be a slower trade. That's cool too. Size down. Sometimes I take 1, 3 lots, maybe 1 lot, 3 lots. Same type of setup, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna be in this trade for 2 hours, but it could still be the same dollar amount. So it doesn't matter to me when the only consideration there is you deal with a little bit more slippage, you deal with more fees. So the scalping has a bit of that drawback, but the ideas are all the same. I'm enjoying this journey, and I hope that you are as well. And if this is the journey that you're interested in pursuing, then don't be afraid to put 10 hours on the charts if your life can support that, right? You don't have to listen to all these little bumper stickers of trading, and it's always just the cliches, right? And that's one that I hear from the Lambo Bros, and it's, like, oh, I'm only on the charts for an hour or whatever. For me, if I only had an interest in being on the charts for 1 hour, I don't think that I would. I don't think this is an interest that I would be choosing to develop. That just wouldn't make any sense to me. So, food for thought. Don't be afraid to really lean into this and say, I'm going to relentlessly spend a vast majority of my time on this because it's what I want to be doing. And then in 3-5 years from now, you can actually be one of the veterans and really be doing something with this. Markets change. Even if I, quote unquote, become successful with my 10,000 hours, and then I say, oh, well, I've made it now, I'm gonna scale down my time and only trade 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day, take my one entry, I'm so good. I truly believe markets change fast, and my mental synapses of recognition and that intuitive pulse on the market that I have, that I feel it all the time, that would slip away. So I don't even think there's a threshold where you can say, oh, I've hit my 10,000 hours, now I can scale back. Maybe a little bit, but you've got to be on the cutting edge of this forever if this is what you want to do forever. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think it's necessary. I really do. Because this is probably one of the most competitive industries ever. Every industry is competitive. Every industry is hard. Competition's stiff. But, God, the markets are ruthless. They are ruthless. What works this month won't work next month. And it takes more than 1 hour a day to be able to flow with those changes. It just does. It's a nice night. No rain. It's actually pretty hot out here. I'm kind of sweating. But the crickets are out. I'm not sure if the mosquito's out. Probably. I don't feel any bites yet, but sometimes I don't feel them until I go inside. The mosquitoes do love me. I've got that sweet blood. Even with no rain, it is a vibe out here. Saturday night. Markets are closed. I've got tomorrow off. I'm gonna hit the gym in the morning. It's gonna be a beautiful weekend. I hope you all enjoy yours. And I'll see you back on here very soon.